I get excited when a new basketball movie comes out. So when I saw Warrior Strong just got released, I had to let you all know about it. It's got everything. The hard-ass old coach.
What are you talking about? God, you're offensive.
A brash former player of his.
You're a terrible coach.
And the down-on-their-luck team that needs some modern techniques to unlock their true potential.
This is all of the players' advanced stats, including PER and order of game share wins in the last couple of years.
Of course, my favorite part is when he tries to introduce the modern game to a coach who is stuck in his ways.
You want to talk about analytics? You can take all the shots you want, but if you're missing, you got an analytic for that.
So they run a turnout, where a player sprints from one corner to the other. The pin down is an added bonus, and of course the penetration into the lane draws all the attention and opens up the coveted corner three. They then run a pick and roll with their newfound big man, and when that works, things start changing for the better. They add a key piece in the middle of the game, and check the sham god that breaks ankles, and the behind the back pass is often the best way to get the ball safely to an open cutter for another three ball. We even got some pistol action into a three that got me hyped up. I had a chance to sit down with Belcourt, the director of Warrior Strong, to discuss the process of how he got this film made.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm a huge basketball fan, and I'm probably like yourself, and a lot of your fans and followers subscribe to your channel. I can't walk by a basketball court if people are playing. I got to stop and watch. It doesn't matter who it is. Not even pros. I'm like, oh, that guy should have passed there. I don't know about that. That's a really bad box out. I mean, come on, seriously? Like, I can't. It's always. I love the game so much, and it's because of that, being a film director, my agent knew that I would always love to have a chance to direct a sports film, but also a basketball movie. So when the script came in, I was like, you had me at basketball. I'm all ready to go. And the fact that it's a buddy cop kind of thing, like Another 48 Hours or, Beverly Hills Cop, and these kind of movies where Lethal Weapon, the odd couples coming together, and the case they got to solve is the team in the season. I just loved all that stuff. Comedy and basketball in one movie, sign me up.
I like to get into the sort of the nitty gritty of filmmaking, just as much as we talk about the breakdowns of the basketball and what's going on the court. I would love to discuss with you a little bit about the process that you developed in terms of filming the basketball scenes. It's a fascinating thing, and you see it differently in every basketball movie. How did you come across the visual style and how you wanted to cover the actual gameplay?
It's because we're the same vintage. I still think Hoosiers is a great basketball movie, just for basketball, for hoops. It's like it really kind of remains the gold standard. I also liked the Way Back as a modern take on it. The way the gym was lit, sort of more for film and less for sort of actual. We've been in those very over the top bright fluorescent rooms. So that was something that, of course, the DP and I were quite inspired by. And the game was great in it. It's funny. If I had chance to watch Winning Season and then was going to shoot the way that they would bring the camera right into the court a bit more, more so than these other ones were more outside, audience viewing perspectives with a little bit of, on camera, on court stuff. I would say it's really hard, to be totally honest with you. It's to play the game, to watch the game is so simple and natural. If you're, like us, you're into it. But, to choreograph it in a way that's repeatable, that's safe for non-basketball players, it really is now not a game of basketball. It's a dance routine. And it's a totally different thing than, trying to organize it, just capture a real game. Now, maybe there's a scenario where some basketball films, you have Shaq or Penny in it. You could actually go, hey, go ahead and play, but this was not that. We had actors that were not basketball players playing against local high school and college players where we were filming up in Northern Ontario by Sault Ste. Marie in Michigan. So, they're not like above the rim dunkers in a sort of, an LA kind of league, but, they do play that kind of below the rim game. And that was good because our actors were never going to get above the rim. And so it's going to be a lot of like drive and kick and, shoot from the outside and that kind of stuff. And that's really what we could do. When I was writing it, when I was picturing it, I was hoping for more of that, high level basketball excellence, But the thing we have to, as filmmakers, you got to believe the characters, you got to believe the drama, and you got to laugh at the comedy. We need actors. And so the actors drove what ultimately the basketball was going to be limited by.
For sure. And now, did you have a lot of training process to get the actors up to speed with some skills on the basketball court?
Yeah, so of course, every actor says on the resume that they can play basketball. And then we asked them to send a basketball tape, and a lot of them had basically rehearsed a move. So, there's so much YouTube stuff. I mean, I've watched the Steph Curry masterclass. You can get a lot of stuff. We had to hire a basketball consultant, Aaron Brown. He's a player. He's looking to play in Greece. He's played a little bit overseas. He teaches at Algoma University up in Northern Ontario. So he's a coach. And so he knows how to help young people be better. And he's a high skill basketball player. And so he worked with all the actors for as much as we were able prior to shooting. We had a camp, and it was like, let's just start. Let's just run laps. Let's find a way to get you somehow camera ready. And then we would split the day, but half a day would just be them working out and working on solo things, like just form, right? Like just shooting form. We'd have them dribbling with their left hand, what a disaster. So, trying to get them on their offhand. And then we'd also get into stuff where the later part of the day was, let's rehearse the dance moves, the plays. But we had to rehearse it both ways, because now the non-actors who just want to play, we know the game's flow, it's live, it's improvisational. You got to just read and react, but you can't, because you might, hurt an actor. So we have to sort of be very safe. And then, then they would become too safe. Yeah. And you're like, well, that's not, you gotta give it to them. You gotta grind a little bit, throw an elbow. But we had to sort of everybody had to find their way to make it as believable to what I would say when I was in high school, again, below the rim basketball game. A modern urban game, even in Toronto now, wouldn't look like this, but that's what we were going for.
I love it. And what considerations, and maybe out of those moments, did that helped you come up with, like, where to put the camera itself? It seems like that's always a palette that you could, it's a blank screen. You can do whatever you like. How did you come up with the areas that you put the cameras in?
A lot of that sometimes comes down to budget. I know it sounds crazy, and you hate talking to it as a filmmaker, but it can become a limit to what you can do. So, you think about some of these basketball films that have audience all the way around in a 360 panorama. So they're behind both the benches and things like that, so that you can organize your days of filming to be in any direction with all the crowd. Well, we didn't have that luxury at this budget level to have audience all the way around for every day of shooting. So we'd shoot one way with the audience in the background, and then the next day we come around and do all the coachy, huddle kind of reactions and shoot the game this way. And then we could go to both ends of the basket where we didn't have fans on those ends. And then we could have stuff about them playing around the hoop that way from either behind the glass backboard or looking up at the shot that way. So we had to sort of pick our angles based on availability of extras, and we didn't have them every day. And so the basketball was very, very fast. So the whole shoot was 26 days. So for basketball, I would have loved to be totally honest with you. I would have loved to have 3 times as much time on the basketball itself. It was like one day, one game. That's it. So, on that, and then, as I described, these two sides, so it was lean and mean, and multiple cameras, and also having to save for 2 of the guys could hit a shot as the actors on call. The Mason character, Rowan Mead, he's a great player. He could hit a 3, but other guys, it's hit and miss.
Right, that's another report, because otherwise everyone's just standing there waiting, and he might take 20 shots to make it. Right, so that's time and money, I suppose. But I thought the way you covered it was great, and you actually used shots like from above the backboard, like kind of sort of reinforcing what we're used to seeing during live games, and it just kind of helped that realism come out. So I thought that was really, really cool. How hard was it to cast the high school players? I have to imagine that might not be so easy to find, younger people who can handle those roles. How hard was that?
You're right with these specific characters in mind. You get an image in your mind. You're like, oh, I hope we get that. And then so like the actor Aiden who plays Shlomo character, it's like, we're looking for a young Jonah Hill. And then this guy comes out. You're like, oh my God, amazing, and he's a huge basketball fan. So it's just like, that was great. He's just a lovely, charming person. The character of Bettina, that was a very tricky character to have somebody from the community who's also athletic. And Macaulay, who plays Bettina, is more of a hockey player.
Oh.
Of course. Welcome to Canada. And, but just naturally athletic. So, they were able to pick up the game and sort of learn how to sort of, be camera ready. So really it was about trying to find the actor who was the hit, who was the character, and then hoping that they could, find a way to be that character while they're on the court playing basketball, which is the other piece of it. Like, you can't just leave the character behind and become yourself playing basketball. And the hardest guy for that was the Josue character. So he's 6'7" in real life. He plays semi-professional basketball, had a university scholarship in the States. He is so good. I played him one-on-one a couple of times, and he just embarrassed me. And I'm not bad. This guy's just so good. That line between like a recreational good player versus somebody who ever touched professional is just like, it's so clear. And he would laugh so hard because I got one left hand. I'm a right-hander, but I love shooting my left down low. And I got a left-hand hook over him, and I just lost my mind because he was really trying to block it, and he didn't. Anyways, as an actor, he had to be not good because his character is somebody who's never played basketball before for the comedic element. So he had a hard time being like, he goes, I can't believe I'm going to be in a basketball movie and you're going to make me look bad. He's so good.
Yeah, well, he actually looks, by the end, he's gotten some skills and he looks good. And so you weren't exactly accurate when you said it was all below the rim, because he plays above the rim and he has a dunk or two we see in the movie. So that's exciting. And I wanted to actually point out that Macaulay Cassidy, who plays Bettina, was particularly notable. I thought, like, what she did in her role as sort of the equipment manager in the beginning, who has every stat available and is just really, really smart with a really great point of view. That's a rare thing to do. So I was wondering, did that take longer to cast her than anybody else, or did she kind of walk in the door out the first day in casting?
No, that's the thing. It's like you put the call out and you hope that you get somebody who can act first and foremost. But, being around a lot of young people in my life these days that are like super, super smart, edge of the spectrum, and just that energy, it's sort of like the speed of it, the making connections beyond, it's almost like a beautiful mind, that's going out, and to sort of have somebody who just has that. And if you speak to Macaulay as a Macaulay on set knew everybody's lines. They were off book completely. So if somebody forgot a line, Macaulay would say it. And so like Macaulay is that way. And so it was just phenomenal that not only can they act, but they can also, really be in that energy naturally.
Absolutely. And I thought that was just a nice piece that, it's a unique in a way that it was something we don't always see, even though there are echoes of like Hoosiers, for instance, because there's this sort of the small town feel to it. So I gotta say, I mean, the movie was really, really just fun to watch, and also just to see the way the characters developed, I thought was a special thing. And I feel like you really were successful in capturing all of that, and I can't wait for everyone else to get a chance to see it. So. Just really quickly, I know we said in the beginning, but this is open and wide in theaters. So in America, and most of the multiplexes, you can go in there, you'll be able to watch it.
I think it's a select pre-release, sort of a small release. So I think it's Los Angeles, New York, Houston, and there's a couple others also on demand. So wherever you normally rent or buy a film, it's a day and date release. So if you can't go to the theater on September 29th and that opening weekend, of course, we'd love you to go to a theater. You can also capture it on your Apple TV or your Chrome, whatever it might be.
Okay. Yeah, it's funny. We understand that, especially as the strike is going on in LA and everyone's complaining about those things. The theater is really where you want to go see it. And that's where certainly the filmmakers care. So that is, I definitely encourage you guys to see it if you're out there in those cities. And then, at the very least, definitely get it out there where you can rent it, where you do for sure do that. Shane, I mean, I can't thank you enough for spending some time with us and talking about Warrior Strong.
Thanks. Really fun to talk to a basketball fan, a basketball nut, and obviously you have a genius of the game that I only hoped to be when I was sitting on my sofa watching every Raptor game this season. Well,
we'll sign off as we always do with all of our guests, which is in our normal way, which says, and don't forget, sports fans, at B-Ball Breakdown, we're not a channel, we're a conversation. You in? Are you in, Shane?
Oh man, I'm all in, bro.